Now, the demonstration we're going to have right here is going to be done by Mark, and you're from LCM Environmental, aren't you? So Mark, tell me a little bit about what we're going to see here.
We do a lot of spill response work for Speedy, and we also supply spill kits to Speedy.
Okay.
And one of the things I want to demonstrate is some of the equipment that we supply, also to talk to people about how to use it, and also a little bit about what not to do when you have a spill. We're going to start just here.
Okay, you can carry on and talk us through what you're doing.
Okay, fine. Right. We've been doing spill response for Speedy since about 2008. And one of the things that we've worked with the different check managers within the Speedy hierarchy, and particularly within Speedy Power, are sort of what to do when you have a spill. Now, whenever you have a spill, there's really three priorities, which is to protect human health, protect the environment, and to protect property. And obviously the priority when there is a spill, initial priority is to stop the source. And around the depots now, there's quite really good spill kits, and the spill kits have in them all sorts of equipment that can be used to stop the spill. So for example, if you've got a forklift which has gone through the side of a diesel tank on a truck, then you'd use a thing called damn-it putty, which is an epoxy putty which you'd use to fill the hole. Or you'd go to your spill kit, you'd grab a cushion, and you'd stuff it in the hole. So the priority always is to stop the source of the spill. And once you've stopped the source of the spill, what we're really keen that people do is to try to stop it going down any drainage system. And now in the depots, you've got lots and lots of clay drain mats. You've probably seen them, and on your check audits, you've probably been told to go and buy some. And the clay drain mats block the drains. But if you haven't got any clay drain mats to hand, again, you can use products like this to stuff down the drains, to put round the drains, do anything you can to prevent the product getting down the drain and therefore moving off the site that you have. Provided spills stay on your site, they can then be contained and we can help clear them up. Now what I want to also do now is just talk about spill pads and spill equipment generally. And to do this, I need to make a little magic brew. And I'm going to take some water, and I'm going to take some oil, but it is oil. And we're going to stick this up. Now I want to imagine that this is a bit of horrible slime which is now disappeared from maybe a generator or a compressor which was being serviced. And so we're going to make a slimy mix, and we'll spread it all over here. And in here you'll see lots of globules, lots of horrible globules. And I want to talk about different spill pads, because they're very transparent and they aren't very absorbent. But there's lots of others around which are really thick and all the rest of it. But there are three types of absorbent, and you'll notice there's three colours. We have black ones, which are classed as maintenance pads. We have beautiful gold ones, which are often used for chemicals. And then we have white ones, which are generally used for oil and are hydrophobic.
Okay, I want to see how this actually absorbs the oil.
So generally, if you have a white pad, it's going to absorb oil. So basically we're going to stick our cheap tacky one in, and we'll see how much oil it absorbs. Now, the problem with really, really cheap pads is that they also tend to absorb water. So what we're getting stuck on there is we're getting little bits of oil, but if you can see, it's already quite transparent. And where it's transparent, it starts to lose its absorbency. So just stick a little bit more in here. Come on, maybe a bit more water.
So what would you say is the difference between the thinner pads and the thicker pads in terms of how much of the oil they absorb?
Yeah.
Does it absorb
a
twice
pad this
as much?
size will absorb 1 litre, basically 1 litre of hydrocarbon. Now it won't absorb the water. it will just absorb the oil.
Okay.
Because it's hydrophobic, the water will pass through it.
So essentially you need less of it.
Absolutely. So one of these will sort of absorb bits of oil and things like that, but it will absorb about a third of a litre.
Okay.
So when you run to your spill kit, what you're really looking for is a pad which is reasonably thick and therefore has got far greater absorbency. Now basically we provide these pads, these cushions and these. Now one of these,
What are they?
One of these, pardon?
What are they?
Now this is a sock, this is a 1.2 metre sock. The 1.2 metre sock, now what do you think of this is? There you are. Right, this 1.2 metre sock absorbs about 10 litres, 10 will then absorb 10 litres of oil.
Does it expand when it absorbs
Yeah, it
that
expands.
much? And it becomes a bigger sock?
It becomes a big sock. It does become a big sock. Okay, and then you have the cushions, and these absorb about the same as the sock. Okay? And you have one of these which absorbs about a litre. So basically, these are great products for absorbing. Now, ironically, these ones are not much more expensive than the little ones. And I'd advise when you're doing your audits or one of your site managers looking around, look at what you've got in your spill equipment that you've bought to make sure the base of your pads are nice and thick. Because when the guys use them, you might only have 100, but 100 of these will absorb 100 litres, whereas 100 of the thin ones will absorb just less.
So you'd essentially have to have about 300 thin ones compared to 100 thick ones.
Absolutely right. And then there's the issue of storage. Okay, so any questions on base absorbency? Right, I take it not. Okay, now the next one I'm going to do is one of the things that you have in depots is you have lots and lots of containers and they're all lying around the place. And one of the things that we have is a little product called Bundy Quick, which is like a little mini bun. And what happens in a depot, we've had a number of spills where this has happened, is that the depot forklift has stuck its forks to the side of an oil tank on a truck. Or you've had a spill where somebody has stuck the forks through the side of an IBC and it's spilled onto the ground. It does happen. It sometimes happens, more often happens on your customer's sites than on one of your sites, but it does happen. Now the beauty about this is that Bundy Quick is a really, really simple thing which a driver could have in his cab that stows away to next to nothing. And if something like that does occur, this will absorb up to 45 litres of product. It's also very useful to have in the yard if you're trying to decant something from one to the other. So it's just a really nice little piece of kit which contain about 45 litres. So if the driver does have a problem with his fuel tank, he can stick this underneath and 45 litres will be absorbed by that.
And do they come in different sizes, or is that just like the standard size?
This is the really small one, ideal for trucks.
So you do get
we
bigger?
We can have up to 250 litres. Obviously they're a lot bigger, but it can carry about 250 litres. But it means that you can contain a spill quite easily. One of the things that you've also seen over here is plant nappies. I guess everyone's quite familiar with the concept of a plant nappy. Effectively, you stick your plant on it, and it has a liner. The liner is absorbent, and it has a hydrophobic liner in it, so water passes through it, but fuel doesn't. So when your little generator, or in this case, a much larger compressor, and we can make these up to the size of your own, the generators that Speedy use, it has a liner, and the liner captures the fuel, but allows the water to pass through. And so plant nappies are now pretty much an essential part of kit on site. Now, they have within them, they have a liner which is made of a material called filter tech. I'll pass some of that round.
I like this, it's like show and tell.
Okay, and filter tech, it looks like, what does it feel like?
It looks like felt.
It feels like felt, exactly. It feels like felt, but it's lined of all sorts of product which is really, really absorbent for oil. Okay, so we're going to make up another witch's brew here.
Okay.
I'm told I'm not allowed to drink this afterwards, but okay. So this again is oil just going into the water. Plenty of it, okay? And the idea is, filter tech will take out the water, take out the oil.
What other products will it take out?
It's just going to take out, it's allowing the water to pass through. Obviously the oil is sitting on the top, but the water will just pass through the mat, leaving the oil residue sat behind. Obviously, there's a lot of oil in here, but you'll see it dribbling through as we talk about it. Now, the idea of a plant nappy, and most of you will be familiar with steel trays that we used to stick underneath, use that as a bund. The problem with bunds is they fill with water. As soon as they fill it with water and you have a spill, they're actually not doing their job anymore. And the idea of a plant nappy with a hydrophobic lining, using this material called filter tech, is the basic. When it chucks it down with rain, the water passes through, but as soon as there's a spill, all of the material all of the oil is being captured by the lining. So in other words, it's a nice, sustainable, environmental product. And
so
this will
the
continue.
products that you actually have, I mean, are they kind of more environmentally friendly in the actual making the build of the
absolutely.
products?
And in fact, in some environments, we actually have spill pads, rather like this, which are made of cotton, and they're completely sustainable products. So the idea really, part of this demo, is to try to say, quality does work, and some of the products that we pass around really are quality products. The pads are nice to use, they don't lint up, they absorb a lot, they're easy for the operative to use, they don't create as much waste as other products, and what you can see basically, it's passing through nice and slowly, is effectively you'll see basically water passing through the filter tech liner, and this is exactly what would happen with your bund. Now, we make all sorts of spill kits. This is just a standard one that would go in a depot. This is a 240 litre spill kit. We do driver kits and all the rest of it. But generally, wherever we provide a spill kit, we recommend that people carry a clay drain mat, because as soon as you've got product going down a drain, it becomes very difficult to recover, becomes costly to recover, whereas generally most spill kits properly used will enable, and with some training, will enable your guys to clean up most spills adequately and minimise the cost of calling us out. So basically that's my presentation. There's some spill equipment. Any questions?
Has anybody actually got any questions, or was that kind of quite a comprehensive explanation? I think it was actually, Mark, so thank you very much indeed. It was.
Good.
It was brilliant. I love all of the demonstrations. So no, it'll take you probably a little while to tidy all of it
We're always
up.
demonstrating.
But if anybody wants to know more information, you're on stand B01, aren't you? So
We are
they
indeed,
can come
I think,
along
01,
and actually have a look at the sock or the pillow.
Lovely. Thanks
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Big round of applause for Mark, please.